Paramount Plus just dropped one of the best comedy specials of the year with South Park Not Suitable for Children, and you can stream it right now for free on us when you try Paramount Plus for 30 days with the code BUTTERS. Not only do you get to experience this wonderful special, but you also get to experience a mountain of backlogs from childhood nostalgic movies and television shows, live TV, more exclusive content, and more. Click the links in the show notes below to check it out and start streaming. What's going on for victims and villains? My name is Josh, and today we are jumping into the concluding chapter of the CarousHEll trilogy, CarousHEll 3. If you guys haven't checked out my reviews on CarousHEll 1 and 2, I'll provide links for those in the show notes below, or you can stay to the end of this video and check out the CarousHEll 2 review right here on YouTube. So CarousHEll 3 brings back a final character from the first film who embarks on a revenge-filled journey to kill Duke once and for all. And oh yeah, there's a secret society of inanimate objects that is also in this mix that intertwine with the two. This movie is hard to talk about without jumping into spoilers, but I will say this. This film returns the franchise, or in this case, trilogy, to its original ridiculous form. And I think by returning to the original kind of insanity that the first film brought and just kind of the ridiculous nature of that, I think that this movie is absolutely fantastic for that, because this movie is just kind of really loose, but also at the same time, it's very ridiculous. And I think that with being ridiculous, this movie also at the same time also just happens to just not take itself so seriously, and it's in that tone of just kind of giving a middle finger to tone or the expectations that you've come to expect from these movies, and really just kind of flies with it. I don't know how else to really articulate this being the best film in the trilogy. Steve Ranowski definitely started this off with on a really high note and ends it on a really high note, which is not always the case for trilogies. Typically, you have trilogies that start off on a really high note, high or higher note with the second film, and then kind of plateau or like really just kind of sink, but about halfway through the final chapter. And it's kind of the reverse here. I don't want to say who the returning character is for this one. It's Joe. It's Joe the pizza guy. Thanks. Yeah, it's Joe the pizza guy. I really like how you got to see the arc of him responding to the events of the first film and kind of getting to see kind of really three-dimensionally how his character has been quite literally having ups and downs, wrestling with not only the events of the first film, but also the trajectory of his character in this film. This movie kind of pulls some inspiration from Clue 1985. I'm gonna let that statement just be ambiguous, and just please go into this movie as blind as possible, because I guarantee you're gonna love it. That is also to say that I really loved how they expanded the lore in this one. Like, they still pulled out some of the more redeeming elements in the second film. There's a lot of callbacks to the first film in this, but there's also a lot of the more ambiguous elements of the first film, and even the second film are really fleshed out here. So I love the way that this film also balances world building and kind of how there's a payoff now to some of those elements that kind of just seem to just exist for the sake of existing. And I think you have that because of the secondary villains of this kind of secret society, I guess I will say, of like reanimated objects that have come to life over the course of humanity. And the less you know about that arc, the better you're in for. But I just loved how that was handled and how that played into the plot, and also gave way to also expanding the mythology. I'm ready to run this through the Rorschach rating scale, because I feel like if I go on anymore, I'm going to end up podcasting about this, and solo podcasts are not my thing. I'm going to go ahead and give CarousHEll 3 a 4 out of 5. I think this is the strongest entry that we've gotten into this franchise thus far. It is over the top. It is ridiculous. It is funny. It is a lot of fun, and it is just absolutely insane in all of the ways that you want a cheesy B movie to be, and I cannot recommend this enough. If you guys are interested in checking out CarousHEll 3, not only can you guys stream it right now on Tubi, you guys can stream the entire trilogy on Tubi, or you guys can also support the filmmaker directly by supporting him on Patreon to get exclusive short films, and you guys can also support him by buying the trilogy in its entirety, as well as other films that he has made, by buying the Blu-rays and DVDs of these movies. If you are interested in supporting independent cinema, you can click the link in the show notes below to check out. Let's talk about mental health. If you guys are new to our content, Mental Health Moment is where we'll take a theme of mental health out of the film which we're talking about, deconstruct it for a few moments, in the hopes to deconstruct the stigma surrounding mental health. For this film, much like the first film, I think this movie captures perfectly the dangers of vengeance and how that impacts your mental health. Sometimes part of processing trauma is not only talking about it, but find healthy ways to relieve and overcome that. For some of us, that looks like producing art, whether that be music, movies, painting, podcasting, etc. For some of us, we channel it into healthy things like boxing, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, soccer, football, wrestling, sports is what I'm trying to say. Some of us will also take avenues like journaling, therapy, medication, couples therapy, family therapy, whatever the source is. And some of us will do a combination. Whatever works for you, let it work. Vengeance is one of those things that has very damaging effects onto your mental health if it's not treated properly. Even if you just simply click the links in the show notes below to our mental health resource library and pick up a phone and text or call the suicide hotline, or just a number of the other hotlines or resources that we have, that's a step in the right direction. Because not only is that a reminder that you're not alone, but also at the same time, it is allowing those wounds to heal. More recently, I just finished HBO's Watchmen for the bajillionth time, and in the last episode, there's a line that has always stuck with me in it. One of the characters says that wounds need air. I can't speak to a more honest statement than that, because wounds do need air. They need time to breathe, to really grow and allow healing to take place, because much like the Goo Goo Dolls say, scars are souvenirs that never heal. But also at the same time, it is a reminder of everything that you've been through, and it is a testament to your strength and will as an individual. So if you or someone you know is struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, and depression, please click the links in the show notes below to check out our previously mentioned mental health resource library. And honestly, I really hope this is an encouragement to let wounds like vengeance heal creatively, heal positively, heal emotionally, physically, etc. CarousHEll 3 is now available to stream for free on Tubi, or you guys can support Steve Baninsky, the filmmaker behind this movie, as well as all of his other films by picking it up on Blu-ray or DVD. In the show notes below, you guys will find links to not only that, ways to support us financially. You guys will also find links to all of our socials, more movie reviews like this, our podcast network, and that subscribe button. So hit that subscribe button and help us raise some more CarousHEll.